What's going on, guys? Chandler here. So this is going to be my new segment on my YouTube channel called First Listen Review that is taken from my $5 tier full album reactions. So I react to the entire album, and then at the very end I give my overall thoughts and initial thoughts and a score on the album as a whole. So again, if you do like what you see and want to support the channel going forward, head over to patreon.com/ChandlerBurtonEntertainment. This is exclusive to the $5 tier. Again, you get a full album reaction, review, and a whole bunch of other perks as well if you guys are interested. And again, there's always a link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the review, and thank you all so much for watching. Alright, my friends, so again, Gideon, More Power, More Pain. Again, just one of my most anticipated albums of the year. It's just fun for me to listen to, especially like when you're like out on a walk or you're working out. Like, this music just absolutely gets you pumped like no other. I know a lot of people were a little upset when they dropped the whole Christian label. They put out that EP a little while ago with the red cover, had like Two-Step, I believe it was called, and then No One, No Love, which I absolutely love that song. And then they put out their last album here, Out of Control, and a lot of people just weren't. A lot of people seemed to like it, but then there were some people that kind of missed that whole, style. I'm a believer in, like, again, if you want to drop that aspect, I think that's completely fine, because again, not to get too like technical with things, but I am a religious man, but it's like I don't necessarily believe like you have to have religion to be a good person or to talk about some of the topics that I could still relate to, with Gideon's music. And so, I never like to argue anybody here. People ever have questions, I always like to talk about it here. But again, for me, it's helped me become a better person. But in life, other people can find other ways to become a better person with or without, a religious aspect in their life. And so that's how I personally see it. And there's no judgment here. I have plenty of friends that are atheists, but are some of the nicest people that I've ever met, in my entire life. And I don't want to get off to too much of a tangent here. I really enjoyed Gideon's last album. Again, it was melodic, had that hardcore feel, like that southern melodic hardcore charm, and I absolutely loved it. So really, really excited to check out this album here. I really hope that it does hold up to my expectations. And also my future father-in-law really likes this band as well when he saw them live. I thought that was really cool. So hopefully, Toby, if you're watching this, you are the man, brother. So let's go ahead and pop it off here. Again, Gideon, first song is called Hell for a Man, and then the next song is called Locked Out of Heaven. If this song does win the poll, I'm going to combine the intro track and the second track together, just so everything has a chance to be in the poll. So really excited to check it out with you guys here. So again, without further ado, Gideon, More Power, More Pain. Let's pop it off here in 3, 2, and 1.
A few moments later.
Dude, just let her fly, man. The album's good when you don't want it to end. Like, when I saw that it was getting near the end, I was like, dude, don't end. I wanted to keep going. Man, that was a great, well-paced, heavy-hitting album that honestly exceeded my expectations. I wanted them to meet it, at least, because, obviously they put out the singles to get people excited about the album, but not only did I find enjoyment in, like, all the other songs other than the singles, I think this is Gideon's best work to date. They did everything right in this album, for me personally. So, I'm really, really excited to talk about it here. So please stick around for my first listen review. That is coming up next. Let's talk about some Gideon. Alright, let's go ahead and dive into Gideon's brand new album, More Power, More Pain. My friends, I have to say, I'm so happy this album exceeded my expectations. Again, at least for me, because I loved it. I thought this was so much fun, but also had a lot of meaning behind it as well, especially with a lot of the spoken word stuff. And we'll kind of talk about that. So we're going to go through the pros, we're going to talk about some cons, and I'm going to throw in a conversation starter for you guys here as well, and then my top 3 songs, and then I'll give you my score, and we will go from there. So let's go ahead and kick it off with the pros. Pro number 1, I love how there's so many styles in this album when it comes to the music. There is metalcore, like melodic metalcore elements in there. There's hardcore elements, as you know, Gideon definitely has that hardcore, background, and definitely shines on this album here as well. Just hard-hitting breakdowns, and it just stuff that reminds me of like Kublai Khan or like Knock Loose or something like that. Just really hard-hitting stuff. I really, really enjoyed that. Also had a little bit, of that hip-hop influence in there, kind of like, especially with songs like, Take Off, or even like the last song, like Let Her Fly, even though that's not really a song, more of an outro. There was still a little bit of hip-hop elements in there sprinkled in. There was no like rapping or anything on the album, but it just had sounds of hip-hop in there, and I thought that was actually really cool. Also had a lot of nu metal as well, especially with a lot of those riffs, man. So again, there's so many things. If you're like a well-seasoned metalhead, you're gonna find something on this album that absolutely works for you. Again, whether it's like one song out of the 14 songs that you find, there's gonna be something that's gonna be added to your playlist. Guarantee it. I mean, this whole thing's going on my playlist, but I guarantee if you're not a big fan of Gideon, if you listen to this album, you're going to find one song that's going to go on the playlist. I truly believe that because of how many styles are on this album. Really, really enjoy that aspect of it as well. Another thing I really liked about this album here as well is, at least for me, what I picked up is there is a lot for new fans of Gideon and old fans of Gideon. So I know some people really started getting into Gideon when they put out that EP, that red EP. I think it's just called No One, No Love. That's a great little EP they put out. And then they had Out of Control, and then they have this album, has that more like aggressive hardcore feel. So like the first half of the album, pretty much everything from Hell for a Man all the way down to Damned If You Do, Damned If You Don't, and everything below that, starting with If You Love Me, Let Me Go, that feels like old Gideon. And I know a lot of people miss that sound, and I think they really found a way to combine the old sound with the new sound without trying to like force it, you know what I mean? I thought they did a really good job of doing that, especially again, like, like I Will Carry You was like seriously the perfect blend of like their new sound and their old sound, and like it was just awesome. So I feel like there's everything. Like, if you love older Gideon, you're gonna love this album. If you love newer Gideon, you're also gonna love this album. Like, I just thought they did a really good job of incorporating the old sound and the new sound. Did a terrific job at it, if I'm gonna be honest. This album also, I just gotta say, man, it just oozes fun. I hate using that word ooze, but like seriously, it was so hard to take notes because I was moving and just having a great time, and it just makes you want to, it's just fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, I know it's gonna get I don't want to get like too emotional here, but it's like I'm still glad that I fight through my depression and anxiety because I live for music like this. Like, obviously, like I look at it as a kid on Christmas where like they wake up at like 5 in the morning and they're excited that Santa's here, and obviously that part of my life is now past. That part is gone. Like, obviously, like I don't, I sleep in on Christmas now when I can, or get up at a decent time. But when I listen to music like this, it makes me feel good. I legitimately feel like a young kid who gets excited to open a gift on Christmas. Like, for me, I get to open this wonderful gift every day called music, and it makes me really happy that I keep fighting through my pain so that way I can enjoy music like this. Because again, this music truly like is fun, and it saved my life, and I just really enjoy it. So I know it's kind of an emotional take on it, but this album's a lot of fun. It makes you want to move, and it's just exciting. It's just a great listen. And then the last thing I'll say that I really like is that I actually really like the spoken words on this album. Like, when they're kind of talking at the end of each song, I had a lot of them, and I was hoping that didn't get annoying. And for me, it personally didn't, because I really liked how like the spoken word kind of tied into a little bit of the album, especially in the beginning. And then honestly on Damned If You Do, Damned If You Don't, like the spoken word was incorporated into the song and then led into a really cool breakdown. Like, it spoke, and then Dan, the screamer, screamed the next part of the song. It's little things like that that really add some flavor to this album, because again, I know some people, and we'll talk about that in, I guess, my cons or conversation starter section, where a lot of it does sound the same, but again, like adding little stuff like that, I think really makes this album stand out as a whole. So the only con that I really had with this album here is that there are a few songs on here that do follow the same similar structure as different songs on the album. There's a few times where I was like, okay, that breakdown sounds similar, those vocal patterns sound similar. there's enough in the songs where it honestly kind of works for me, at least, where it's like it doesn't feel over bloated. But to a first-time listener, especially like with this album, since there's like 14 songs, again, this is a really long album. It's like 47 minutes long, so it is a big album. I feel like a lot of people are gonna like listen to it and they're gonna be like, oh man, that song really stood out to me, but then they're gonna try to find it and it's not going to be the song they want. You know, they have to like figure out what song really stood out to them. So I do feel like some of the songs, they do blend a little bit together. To me, since I am a big fan of Gideon, like it didn't bother me too much. But again, I think as a first time listener, for some people, it may be a little overwhelming because again, you may not be able to find that song because a lot of them are structured the same. Again, that's the only thing that I really had a problem with this album. Again, I think overall, man, this album as of right now may be my favorite album of the year so far. I know it's only March, and obviously I gotta, you know, bite my tongue when I say that, but I think as of right now, this album's doing it for me, dude. I really enjoyed it. But that's the only con, in my opinion, that I found with the album. All right, my top 3 favorite songs. This is another album where it was so hard to pick because again, I legitimately enjoyed like all the songs. Like they're super good. But the 3 that stuck out to me on my first initial listen, number 1, Locked Out of Heaven. Thought that song was really cool. I was a little thrown off by the singing that was kind of put into the background. In my personal opinion, that did feel a little bit forced, but overall, man, like that song just kicks in like with that hardcore style of music, and I really enjoyed that. And again, the singing's pushed so far back into the background that doesn't bother me too much, but it did throw me off a little bit. But overall, man, that song was a great way to start the album. I mean, Hell for a Man and Locked Out of Heaven, like those 2 songs together, I just combined them as 2, I guess. Really enjoyed it. I thought that was really good. My other song is Off the Rails. I feel like that one's going to be the black sheep of the album, where kind of like on the other album, Out of Control, their song Denial, I love that song, but it's just not as popular as you know, their other songs on that last album. But I feel like this one will be the black sheep as well. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I just have that feeling that it will be. But that song was a ton of fun to listen to. Just had a great time, moved really hard on that, so that was really fun. But I think the biggest standout is I Will Carry You. If this song does not get like a music video or pushed, I'm gonna be really disappointed because I really feel like this is the best song that Gideon has ever done. Again, it's combining their new style, you know, kind of like that hardcore element, which I know they've done before, but that also brings in those elements of like their older stuff, like something from like the Cold like album cycle, something like that. And I think with the lyrics on that as well, just being really emotional. Also, the beginning of it sounded like a saloon. I thought that was really cool, really unique to that song. Beautiful song, just a wonderful song. I think this might be my favorite Gideon song because they just combined everything that I love, old and new. So again, if this song does not get a music video or pushed more, I'm gonna be really upset because I really enjoyed it here. And this would honestly be my pick if like when we vote on our favorite songs in the clip poll, this would be the one that I vote for. Again, those were the 3 songs that stuck out to me on this album, but again, I loved this album, dude. Just absolutely awesome. Man, this weekend's been great for music. I mean, we had Invent Animate with their album Heavener, which was a solid release. Again, we have Chelsea Gren that we're going to be checking out here as well, and then we have Gideon. I think out of all 3 of those, Gideon is going to be swept under the rug because again, Invent Animate has been so hyped in the scene right now. Like I'm so happy for them. Chelsea Gren's been around for so long, everybody knows who they are. But then there's this sweet little album called More Power, More Pain that I feel like a lot of people are going to miss out on because those other 2 releases are kind of like coming out around the same time. I would highly encourage everybody who's watching this review, like on YouTube, to really check out the album. Not saying that you need to join my Patreon or anything to watch it with me, but just check it out on your own free time. Again, if you're a fan of like, you know, just good old metalcore, again, I say like Wage War, Fit for a King, those types of things, but also if you're a fan of like Kublai Khan and those types of like hardcore bands, like you're gonna find something in this album that you like. As I mentioned, it has hip-hop influences, new metal, melodic metalcore, hardcore, like everything that you like about metal is like fused into this album, and it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel annoying, it feels really, it's just fun to listen to. And again, Gideon's been doing this for 12 years, and again, I finally feel like they're getting the recognition that they deserve. I know they're on a headlining tour right now for the Fallen Dreams, which again, I'm bringing up For the Fallen Dreams again. Really love their self-titled. Like I love that album. That was a great discovery for me because I haven't listened to that band in so many years. But going back to Gideon, I really would recommend giving this album a chance. Maybe listening to the top 3 songs that I mentioned, or again, my other Gideon reactions will be down below in the description when I upload this to YouTube here. I really want people to check out this album because, again, it's emotional, it's heavy, it's fun, and it's just a really good listen, in my personal opinion, of course. I loved it, man. This album is great. I am giving Gideon More Power, More Pain a 9 out of 10. Absolutely solid album through and through. This will absolutely, and I'm going to say this, it will be on my top 10 albums of 2023. I've been looking forward to this album forever, and not only did it meet my expectations, it exceeded my expectations.